about 10:54 in the night. So we shall let's just talk about the news that's making headlines. Let me start with where I'm seated right now. I'm at home. It's about 10:54 in the night in Uganda, Kampala. Now today the biggest news headline has been that Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, who is also known as Bobby Wine, is a Ugandan musician who hopes to challenge President Yoweri Museveni for the presidency of Uganda. Now, Yoweri Museveni has been president for about 34 years. Yes, 34 years, making 35 this year, and is seeking another term. So, this musician turned politician now wants to be president. So, today he went to the Electoral Commission and picked his forms, and he will be filling those forms. But there's also issues with his political party. He managed to register a political party under the nose of the government, and he did register that party. But now there is a group that has come out to claim that this party belongs to them. Let's also talk about COVID-19. Now, COVID-19 is a big problem in the rest of the world, but has switched off out of the COVID mode into the election mode because um, uh, politicians are making it look like COVID is not that important. Now, we also have many politicians who have actually opted to go full throttle. They are holding campaigns, they are holding rallies, processions, and all the sorts. Now, the Ministry of Health already made it clear that they do not want people to hold rallies. They're calling this election scientific, a scientific election which does not allow processions, rallies, and the sorts of things that we see in normal campaigns. But this time, they have the ministry has ordered for politicians to use media, to use social media, to use radios and television stations to pass across their messages. Now the politicians are not listening, so most of the Ugandans have also given up on wearing the masks. And then a few weeks ago, we had the Minister of Health also flaunting the guidelines. Now here's where it becomes quite confusing. The Minister of Health is also standing for an elective position of Member of Parliament for a constituency. Now, because she's standing, she has to go out and campaign. And when she went out to campaign, she did not wear her mask. And that actually caused a lot of issues on Ugandan social media. But if you followed Ugandan politics for a while, you know that the government rarely listens to the social media issues. But the cases are getting worse. The cases are getting closer to home. The deaths have actually started. Uganda is one of those countries that officially did not register a death for about 4 months into the COVID-19 outbreak, and that the government was very proud about that. But later on, the country has now gotten um, uh, deaths. So Uganda has registered 9 COVID-19 deaths and total 1,313 cases. Now, the government is quite proud about the work that they have done for the COVID-19 response because they put out a lot of messages. They did a very quick lockdown. Actually, Uganda went into lockdown before a single case was registered. So before a single case was registered, there was lockdown. Schools were closed. The public spaces were closed, bars were closed, bars are still closed until now. So the easing of lockdown happened this very month, last month rather, and it's been a month, about 3 weeks of no lockdowns, but the lockdown in Uganda was quite early, and that is what the government attributes to the fact that there were no deaths for 4 months. But the deaths have started coming, and now they are coming in the capital city. Before, we were seeing cases coming from the border areas bordering Kenya, bordering Tanzania, because Tanzania had quite a number of cases. And we'll be talking about Tanzania in a little bit because the statistics coming in from Tanzania are not very clear. So Tanzania is one of those countries that has kept quiet about their COVID-19 issues, and they are not being very out with what they need to see. One of the other stories that has come out because of the lockdown is that there is a blood shortage, and we know that blood is helping so many in hospitals, accident victims, mothers trying to deliver babies in hospitals. They need this blood. Now there's a shortage of blood, and it's an East African problem. Now the government of Kenya yesterday revealed that they actually had some units of blood sold abroad. Now, some are saying that this blood had been sold to Uganda because Uganda had a shortage of blood for the whole week. But the Kenyans are also complaining that they are donating this blood for free, and yet government is selling it to other East African states. Now let's talk about Kenya, because Kenya is, as we stand right now, the worst hit East African state. Kenya has a total of 27,425 cases of COVID-19 as it stands right now. Yeah, Peter is asking, is blood in great shortage in the region? Yeah, it is. There is a serious issue with the blood shortage. The hospitals do not have the blood, and they say, according to the Nakasero Blood Bank, I spoke to them 2 days ago, and they told me they were mostly using schools and universities, these young people that were donating this blood. And according to the doctors, there is also a particular age that is meant to donate this blood. Now, because public gatherings are not allowed, people cannot go to markets, so the blood donation drives are also not happening. The schools are closed, the universities are closed, the markets are closed, so some malls are closed. So there is no way in which they can approach people and get this blood, and that is why there is a shortage right now. So what is happening in the hospitals is, if you go and you're an accident victim and you need 3 units of blood, you will be told to send some of your relatives to come to the hospital and donate blood, and then you'll be given the 3 units of blood. And sometimes it is too bad to the extent that those that come to give blood have to be of your blood group, so that they give you their blood. Yeah, so that's how bad it gets with the blood shortage. So in Kenya, there are total deaths today recorded, but these are official statistics from the Ministry of Health Kenya. There are 438 deaths, total deaths recorded, and you can see that there is a very, very big difference between the cases, the deaths in Kenya and the deaths in Uganda. The deaths in Uganda are only 9. The deaths in Kenya are 438. Total cases in Kenya right now are 27,425. Uganda has 1,313. Recoveries are also up there. As you have known, COVID-19 has a very high recovery rate, and the death rates are very low, but of course it's highly contagious, and that is what is causing most of the issues. Now, the total recoveries for Kenya today were 372, and then the total cumulative recoveries 13,867, and the new deaths for today 15 in Kenya. 11 of these had underlying conditions. That's according to the official Ministry of Health website for Kenya. Now, Tanzania is one of the East African countries, together with Burundi, that have been quite mum about their COVID-19 numbers. And from the start, the Tanzanian president, because there is a campaign going on, Tanzania will also be voting very soon. Burundi already voted. Uganda is in a campaign period. So there is a lot of elections happening now. About just months after Uganda votes, normally Kenya also goes into an election. So there is a lot of electioneering going on in East Africa, and it's creating a lot of issues with the COVID-19 and the following of the guidelines. Now, we all know world over there is washing of hands, there is social distancing, wearing of masks. Now, governments have tried to give free masks to these people. The government of Uganda rolled out a free masks campaign that they're giving out to people, but even with the masks being given out, people are still not wearing these masks in public. And also, it is difficult to really do the social distancing whenever these politicians come around, because they're giving out money, they're giving out all these donations in quotes. Some have called them bribes, but I can't call them that. I can only call them gifts for what they call them. So there are those issues, and the experts are warning that there could be an issue in East Africa if the disease indeed goes on to the end of the year. While all these elections are happening, all these campaigns are happening, there could be issues in East Africa when it comes to the numbers with COVID-19. Now, there was also a story that that ran breaking news, I think, today in the morning. This side saw it today in the morning, about a vaccine being discovered in Russia. According to the reports that we saw. Now, when we put the story out in our media platforms and social media and our news channels, we had a lot of positive reaction from the people. But now the challenge is that even when the people want this vaccine, if the vaccine is actually there, I'm not confirming that this vaccine has actually been proven to work or even approved by the World Health Organization, but there is a lot of excitement about this vaccine, but then the scientific elections that our countries are taking favor the incumbents. That's according to experts. Now, there is kind of issues being raised on both sides of the coin with the politicians in power. President Museveni of Uganda, who this could have been easily the easiest election for him to win ever since he stepped into power 34 years ago, because it was scientific. The opposition does not have television channels. He has television, he has radio stations, he has television channel, and therefore it was going to be easy for him to really go ahead and win the election. But now, with talk of a vaccine being brought in, then that means they'll have to abandon the scientific election or not. So that is the dilemma that is in Uganda right now. And Kenya, Tanzania is still quiet about their COVID-19 numbers. They're not publicizing them a lot. But I have some friends down there that managed to tell me what's going on. Of course, with the high risk, working in East Africa is a very high risk environment, because the leadership sometimes just doesn't want journalists snooping around now, do they? Rwanda's numbers have also been down. Burundi does not have any numbers that are threatening the East African region. Transport in the East African region, I talk about it as a region because there is what we call the East African Community, which is an amalgamation of sorts of all the states. So we have one passport. We share lots of economic aspects. We share borders, but then these borders have been closed to public traffic. There has only been traffic. The only traffic that is allowed to move border through the borders is the traffic of cargo trucks. It's only the cargo trucks that are allowed to go through into the other countries. But there are porous entry points where people are coming in and using those porous borders on the sides, not the official border points, but they are passing through bushes, passing through forests, crossing rivers and the sorts, and they managed to cross into Uganda, they managed to cross into Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, and the rest. Now, if you followed also the politics of Africa, you know that even right before the COVID-19 pandemic, there was an issue, diplomatic row between Uganda and Rwanda. So that border still remains closed, the border between Uganda and Rwanda, and of course the dialogue that had been started had to be stopped because of COVID-19. So that border is closed, the Gatuna border between Uganda and Rwanda, but there are other borders like Congo, there are other borders like South Sudan. Those borders still letting cargo trucks to come in, and most of the cases that I have told you from Uganda are cargo truck drivers. Also, what happens in the East African states is if a case is discovered in Uganda and this driver is a Kenyan cargo truck driver is discovered to be COVID-19 positive in Uganda, they are sent back to Kenya. Even when they are registered as a Ugandan case, they are sent back to Kenya for treatment. We've also had our stadium, the largest stadium, the Nelson Mandela National Stadium, has been repurposed to become a quarantine center and also a treatment center. Now, this was government preparing for the worst, but as it stands now, the worst has not yet come with regards to Uganda. So that is just a sneak peek into what has been making headlines in the past 24 hours in Uganda. It's 11:09 p.m. in East Africa, and we are going to bed now. But tomorrow, same time, same place, Africa Live will be telling you all about what's happening in this East African region, and also try to throw in a couple of pointers from the rest of Africa too. Thank you for watching. Have a good night from this side of the world. Bye-bye.